Today, I would like to welcome back Dr. Rain Struble from GERATEC. Welcome, Doctor, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Madeleine. Always good to chat.
Dr. Rain, today I would like to elaborate by asking you to explain the fact that I know you strongly believe about the role that caregivers play in our communities. Now, would you mind elaborating and giving us a bit more context as to the role that they play and the importance of having them in our community?
Yeah, Madeleine, I've been very fortunate to travel the world and speak at conferences and visit care homes literally across the world. And I always maintain that we have the best caregivers in the world in South Africa. We have people for whom caregiving is a calling. It is part of that Ubuntu nature. Now, often we hear horror stories about caregivers, and especially caregivers in care homes. And I maintain that it is not because caregivers are bad people, but because we have a broken system in which people operate, and that the system often takes caregiving and goodness out of the relationship, especially when it becomes medicalized and is run like many care homes, like a bit of a military establishment with rules and regulations. We tend to lose the impact of the relational context and relational integrity of caregiving. So I've been working very hard over many years to really highlight the significance of the relationship between caregivers and the people whom they care for. And I very, very strongly believe that no one goes into caregiving for the money. Maybe that is sometimes the only job that someone can find, but within the right context, they will very quickly realize that this is a spiritual calling, and that it could be the most meaningful relationship that you could ever have, is to care for an older or vulnerable person.
Now, Dr. I also know that you have developed specific training courses that are quite impactful. Would you mind elaborating and giving us a bit more context as to what exactly this entails and how vital this is when it comes to the role that caregivers need to play in the communities?
Yeah, I think the importance of training cannot be underestimated. And yet, yes, there is a place and a role for skills training. For me, what is more important is this training around well-being, the training around creating authentic relationships, of really understanding that we all come to the caring relationship with a story, and that story defines the nature of the relationship. And if I don't know your story, you are reduced to tasks, care or clinical tasks. The more we bring our own personhood into the relationship, the more authentic this relationship will be and the more reciprocal it will be. So what we do is we have a workshop that we call the Who Am I workshop. And we encourage caregivers to not come to this workshop as a training course, but to really come to themselves, to spend time with themselves, to explore and ask themselves the question, who am I? Where am I at? What am I doing here? So we work with the Eden alternative domains of well-being, and we look at the life story of each caregiver, and then we ask them to identify their domains of well-being. Now, the domains of well-being are those things that constitute our sense of well-being. And we all want the good life. We all want that sense of well-being. So there are 7 domains, and we literally identify those domains through a collage of a story that the caregivers make on, a big piece of paper, magazines, spoeg and plak. And it's interesting how often they are caught off guard. This is not what they expected. They expect to learn about doing a proper bed wash, or how to properly help someone get up from a chair or move from the bed to the chair. And how we realize that how seldom people are asked or think about, who am I? Why am I doing what I'm doing? So we work through the 7 domains, which are identity. Your identity as a caregiver, but you are not just a caregiver. You are also a mother, a grandmother, someone's wife, someone's daughter, which brings a sense of connectedness. We are not living in a world of disconnect, although there is so much. Our care relationship is about connectedness, which brings meaning, which brings joy, which brings a sense of growth and a sense of autonomy and a sense of security. So within this understanding of the domains of well-being, we create a sense of interreliability as well, that it's not just what I'm giving, but also what I am receiving. And we find that, I often joke about it, that I find that caregivers leave this workshop feeling genetically modified. They really, really see the importance of the fact that they are not just caregivers, but they really are world makers. They make a new world for older and vulnerable people, and what they receive through that, they realize gives them a sense of doing the most meaningful work that anyone could do, and that is caring and giving of yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Rain. I think this is so positive and so insightful to hear that, the Who Am I training plays such a pivotal role in the lives of not only the caregivers, but also for the elderly community. And I think this training delves a bit deeper, and it actually goes quite far down the lines as to why am I doing what I am doing. And I think the training specifically that you guys have on offer is very impactful on the lives of so many people. And I like the fact that you mentioned that we see them as world makers, because I truly believe that that is exactly what they are. So yeah, I think for those of you who would like to find out more specifically with regards to training courses, or get in touch with Dr. Rain, you're more than welcome to follow him on LinkedIn or visit the GERATEC website. Thank you, Dr. Rain.